Hey, Ancil Lea here. Hey, here today to talk to you about creativity in my work. Let me first say that um, I probably, spent my parochial and college days probably daydreaming way too much in class. So, I mean, I've always been um, I guess you would say a creative person. I don't know if that my from days of sitting on a tractor and mowing, I would probably just daydream my time away. And although some people see it as a as especially your parents who think what in the world is he doing daydreaming in class. Um, and but it's turned out to be one of the biggest blessings as I've gotten into, my career. Um, that I'm able to use, creativity. Well, first, let me back up and say I work in the area of medical software. I've sold medical software since 1988. Just right out of college, I got a job. I then went to work for IBM, and they trained me on their sales, you know, um, methods, if you will. However, I feel like that being creative in your sales approach is probably put me ahead of folks. When we're whether it's a sales approach or really, the big one is finding prospects and getting people that being creative in ways to engage with folks, market to them, connect with them. And the recent, of course, with social media these days, it's made it easier to connect. I primarily use LinkedIn, by the way. But creative thought has always been a part of me. I consider it a blessing, even in my writing, um, and as well as thinking, especially in my work. And I will tell you that when I left in '91, I left working with IBM in '91 and started my own gig, if you will, business as an entrepreneur. We basically were um, we just were a firm that we just sold software, medical software. And then we resold a software package about mid '90s, and we were very successful uh, with that, and then sold it to a company in the early 2000s. But I will tell you that really the whole heart of what I do is around being creative. Um, Again, it's whether it's your approach to um, you know trying to find people who need your product, and or connecting with them, and or finding really finding what in my business. I think that you really have to understand. There's really about three different components of what I do. There's a very technical, technology has just been racing since I got out of college. There were no uh, computer systems in medical clinics, or and very little or a limited amount in hospitals. So during the course of my career, the explosion of technology has taken place. It's amazing. Um, so seeing the rise of technology, and how also healthcare is changing, has changed since 1988, and it continues to change. It's in a that it's going to continue to just race and change. And who knows what it's going to look like? And the healthcare technology, uh, not to mention the healthcare advances that have happened. However, my job is to find and look at all these things and try to think ahead of what there's a need out there. Think ahead of the need, and find or design a solution that a software solution that could help meet that need. And so that's been a blast to do. I've really enjoyed that, and I think we've been good at doing that. And but your role as an entrepreneur is really to see those, to know the industry and be able to see those holes and fill those with a solution. So being creative, it really has just been a blessing to me as as I look at what and also as I look at selling these solutions, but also what does your business long term, what does the business look like? And and that it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. It's like trying to put all the pieces, find the right pieces to put together to make a solid business and or a solid solution that you can get out and sell and do well with, and that one that will serve your client, but also serve their patients the best. So I wanted to give them solutions that'll help them succeed. So figuring out how the business model looks like, what it looks like, is another piece of that. As an entrepreneur, is designing a business model that will be successful, not only right now, but what's going to be successful 5 years from now. And 5 or 10. It's hard to look past 5 years. So creativity, being able to be creative, use creative creative marketing approaches, and how to be creative and utilize social media, and how do you use all these pieces to connect to the people you need to connect to be successful. And it just takes again, it's one of those blessings and a curse. It's for me, it's thinking, being able to think and look at a situation and apply creative thought to it, to look at all the different options and how it might work and how it might be effective. And gosh, I couldn't do what I'm doing without the creative piece. And that's why this is not, what I do is not for everybody. That without creativity, I think it would be very, I don't know, maybe might be better off, who knows. But creativity plays such a critical role in being an entrepreneur, selling software, and being successful, I think. And the guys that I've seen that have done, it's interesting that probably the guys that's probably made millions that I have been around, are very creative, almost ADD type, really, and their creativity is off the charts. And I'll just you've got to put that along with the work ethic. Having a very strong work ethic on top of it's one thing to be creative. It's another thing to couple that with work ethic. and drive, and that, you know, you've got targets that you're trying to hit and goals you're trying to hit. Um, and it takes creativity to try to even set those goals. You know, one of the great things that I remember about IBM is that they would make you do a forecast at the beginning of the year, and you had to come in with your forecast for the year, and present it to the branch manager, which was just, you know, a very frightening thing for a young 26-year-old guy, you know. And so in that forecast, you know, you have to predict, if you will, kind of look into a crystal ball and say, all right, this is, you know, I'm going to sell this much, and this is when, and be specific on, you know, what months those things would land, or they would buy, which I thought was ludicrous. You know, I'm thinking, this is the craziest thing I've ever done, is project out what this, what my forecast would look like. So I'm sitting there just, I'm thinking, okay, November, you know, we're going to sell Millard Henry Clinic. I'm in Russellville, Arkansas. Who they hadn't bought anything in forever. And so I forecasted out the year. And you know what? The crazy thing about that, and I know it's all subconscious kind of stuff. You know, much of the stuff I forecasted came true. Now, did we work toward that end? Maybe, but some of it I didn't have anything to do with. Now, how in the heck did I know that? So, you know, again, thinking, you have to. I mean, I really made. I mean, I'm not saying I made all that up, but I really had to think through and put some thought to it to put the forecast together. And it's amazing when you do that, and, you know, magic happens. And although I don't believe in magic, I believe that, you know, that you know, I guess you work subconsciously towards that. So, but just to be able to put together a plan, it really took some mental, took a lot of creativity and a lot of sweat to put that together. So anyway, that was just one of my many things that I've thought about in regards to creativity. So um, so at any rate, I hope that's helpful and applicable to what you're trying to do. And happy to field any questions. You know, reach out to me on my media, LinkedIn primarily. And man, I just wish you well. I hope this has been helpful. Thank you.